Kia ora, Andy. Lovely to have you here on our Dunedin Stories podcast today.
Thank you, Vex. It's an absolute treat to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Looking forward to hearing the story about your Dunedin experience and life and journey.
Yeah.
And in that regard, do you want to let the community know who you are and perhaps the organisation you're representing today?
Yeah, sure. My name is Andrew Hou, and I'm a first-generation New Zealander. My parents came to New Zealand in the 60s from China, and I was born and raised in Dunedin. And I'm a community pharmacist. I've been a pharmacist for 25 years, and this year is my 25th year as owner at the Roslyn Pharmacy, which is just up on the hill in Highgate.
I'm pretty sure most of us will be very familiar. It's a bit of a landmark, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it's been there for a long time, and it's an
has.
absolute privilege to spend 20 years there.
Yeah, serve the community. Thank you. Do you know why Dunedin for your family and that decision process?
Oh, good question. I think my parents in the 60s, they came to New Zealand on a sort of they were refugees in Hong Kong. That's where they met from the Civil War in China. And they came to Dunedin on a church sort of scholarship, and they just fell in love with the place. Their first house was in Green Island in the 60s, and then they moved to North Dunedin to be close to George Street Normal, which my older brothers went to, and then I went to a little bit later.
It's fascinating, the decision process that people go through to come here, and I am often wondering about, the early 60s, even before then, what made them choose Dunners.
Yeah, so, I've seen some old photos of the 60s of my parents, during the, early stages in 1960s Hong Kong, and it's just incredible. And then to move to Dunedin is just, unbelievable.
And you've never felt the pull to leave, so
no,
that's pretty awesome.
Well, George Street Normal, DNI, Otago Boys, Otago Uni. Yeah. At that point, it was definitely time to go. Vex. So from my tuition in Dunedin, I spent a year in South Auckland. And then
1 year was enough.
1 year, 1 year was enough. Well, great time. Learned a lot. But Amy, my wife, also came up to Auckland with me. I met her at a Otago Boys Otago Girls formal.
Oh, you've got a love story.
I know. So we went to Auckland together, and we wanted to get married and leave, but we just couldn't save any money being in Auckland. It was impossible. So we worked hard in Auckland, spent everything we earned. So we had to come back to Dunedin and be with our parents, and in 6 months, saved for the wedding, got married, then left to go to the UK for a year.
Right. Just an OE or a working?
Yeah, it was going to be an OE, and we had these grand visions of living in Melbourne after our couple of years stint in the UK, but we were only in the UK for 9 months because we actually ended up falling pregnant with our son Josh.
These things, not by accident.
And from there we were determined to have it in the UK, have Josh in the UK, but the last minute we decided to come back to Dunedin, and here we are.
Yeah. So there's a bit of a crossover there because Josh is roughly 21. Yeah, and the business is 20.
20 years.
Yeah, so there was a couple of years there where it was some pretty incredible hard mahi and balancing balls and juggling.
Oh, look, absolutely. And, between, buying houses, mortgages, all this sort of stuff, it's about, pulling your head in and getting into work. That's right.
So you obviously aspired to be a pharmacist. You studied that side of the coin. Was it always the intention to own your own business in that regard as well? Was that part of the plan?
Yeah, great question, Bex. My parents, I grew up in the Great King Street Dairy, and it was the best childhood ever. I could help myself to what used to be 20-cent mixtures, used to be quite a lot of lollies.
20-cent lolly now.
20-cent lolly now.
Yeah.
So the best childhood ever, but, I fell in love with being a little community-based business, and my parents brought so much joy, not just in doing their day-to-day, people coming in to buy bread and milk, which people used to go to the dairy to do that. This is before big supermarkets were around. So Mum and Dad built a really neat little community in North Dunedin. I grew up with Mr. and Mrs. Casey, the Devereaux, they were all down the way. So I remember growing up with them. Sandy, who used to own the BP, which is now Taco Bell. Some great memories there of a fantastic, thriving little community. And I just fell in love with that idea. But also because of Chinese background, there's a joke in Chinese communities, Bex, where your children are either a doctor, a lawyer, or a disgrace to the family.
Well, pharmacy is kind of going into that medical doctor area.
That's right.
You know.
Yeah. So I'm the youngest of 4 boys, and unfortunately, my 3 older brothers are all doctors.
Are they?
Yeah. So I was, the youngest, most spoiled, and there was sort of an expectation, I guess, that I would be following in their footsteps and my father's footsteps. He was also a doctor.
Yeah. Well, I feel like you've knocked it out of the park.
Oh, thank you, Bex.
Yeah, supporting the health of a community, perhaps before the doctor is needed.
Yes,
you know.
There you go.
So,
there you go. And I guess, like, if you took that community, small business aspect and healthcare professional aspect, you put that in the blender and you get a pharmacist smoothie, I guess.
Based in Roslyn Village. And connected with a whole lot of other wonderful people owning businesses and supporting the community.
It's been an absolute ride, you know, that when we first got there was a We New World there, and Rhubarb had just opened, so, you know, we Sam and Helen, great suppliers of coffee and cheese muffins.
Well, the fire station still would have been a fire station.
Fire station was still a fire station. And which is, of course, now coffee culture.
Yeah.
So it's a great little community.
Yeah, it is. It's really vibrant. I love visiting the places out there, definitely.
Yeah, it's neat.
Do you think what you've achieved and what you've done with Roslyn Pharmacy is unique to Dunedin? Would you say that there's things about Dunedin that make this possible?
Yeah, look, to me, Dunedin is so special. It is so special because of its size. Everyone knows everyone. So, for example, I grew up with your husband, Paul,
yes.
Otago Boys.
Yes.
Hilarious time. You know, we grew up together. So many laughs. And your mum comes into the pharmacy.
She
you know,
does.
I met your mum through a different pharmacy.
Yes.
And she hopped along when I hopped along to Roslyn. So close-knit community, and it's so special. Yeah. And I think Dunedinites can quite often forget that.
I think, you know, that 130,000 people on a good day when all the students are here, it is the perfect size to have that 1.5 degree of separation. So if you need something from somebody, there is going to be a way that you're going to be able to action it within 24 hours, basically. You know. Yeah.
So. And everyone here is so supportive of each other. And I just see our role as supporting that, you know, offering our services, showing kindness, showing support, because, you know, life can be challenging.
I agree. Well, it is. It is. It's not just that it can. It actually is.
It actually is.
For everybody, yeah.
And, you know, it's a privilege to be there for so long. You know, there's one family in particular that we've looked after. We look after 4 generations.
Wow.
The grandparents have unfortunately passed, but, you know, it's a real privilege. Therefore, births of great-grandchildren, you know, the news, they come and tell us, they're so excited, and but then the whole journey through the aging process, you know, it's hard, but being a familiar, friendly face, when primary healthcare is really pushed, you know, it's
even more important than the actual doctor, I think, maybe, you know, you've got that extra knowledge of the truth of what it is that they're actually taking as supplements and other things that, you know, may not be of great assistance to them, and you can support them on that journey, maybe. Well,
you know, when I was growing up, we had a family doctor, and we knew that family doctor, Dr. Gramond, who used to work in Dunedin North, and, you know, he delivered me. That's and then
we don't have that
we
anymore.
We don't have that anymore.
No.
And I worked in Auckland 20 years ago, and you just never saw the same doctor. But in Dunedin, there are still pockets of it.
Yes.
And it's so special, that relationship. But there was healthcare before the pandemic, and there's healthcare now. It's there's been a huge squeeze on services.
Yeah. And there has been a bit of a shake-up on or the accessibility of health services, as you're talking about, but also there's been a bit of a shake-up on the practicalities of delivering the services that you offer. And I want to talk about, that change. We'll call it innovation. But with these big box retailers coming in, these not even owned by Aotearoa people coming into a community and selling everything at cheap as chips and not having the relationship and that caring perspective, how are you mitigating that? I mean, I know the answer to that question. It's in your very being that is here before me. But let's talk about that. How
Sure.
challenging is that space?
Look, if we were competing in the same... it's hard to explain, I guess. Look, if you just looked at the product itself, are we competing on the same thing? I guess we are, but we just... that's everything else.
Yeah.
The value add, the care.
Yeah.
It comes down... Look, and if it was... widgets. I don't know why widgets are always used as an example, but if it was widgets...
It's a really nice word to throw in there.
Yeah, that serves a purpose, that does its thing. Look, I get that, fine, go to the cheapest place. But if you're actually talking about something that is impacting your health, and getting advice from people that genuinely care about the community...
And they have a reputation themselves to maintain, uphold. And word of mouth marketing, as we all know, is of utmost importance. So, I knew the answer to the question, of course, but I'm very conscious of it. Of course, keeping it local, supporting our locally owned organisations like your own is just so important.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. And, we're recording this third week of the new year in January. And, every year I try and set myself some sort of big picture things for me personally. And certainly the one thing that I've written down and circled and highlighted is being hyper local.
Yeah.
Because, the year in 2024, I spent a year. What I had written down is actually not buy anything, so I unsubscribed.
Right, you did the opposite.
So I unsubscribed from all these emails. I stopped. I tried to break into my Instagram and algorithm so that I wouldn't just continually get bombarded with ads.
Yeah.
And that was a really interesting experience.
Yeah.
And I really recommend people try and do that.
Yeah.
And now, so this year, I just really want to support local businesses. And we've just come back from a big holiday overseas, Vex, and it's given me a real appreciation for what New Zealand has, what it has to offer, and, supporting local suppliers. And then we're so lucky in Dunedin, we have incredible local suppliers across so many industries.
But I don't believe there's anything that you can't get locally.
So I don't want to, I love... Okay, supermarkets.
Yep.
Okay, supermarkets.
Absolutely.
So we in Europe, we spent some time in Spain and Portugal, and with the New Zealand dollar being so bad at the moment, everything was really expensive.
Oh yeah, it must have been scary.
But apart from supermarket shopping, we filled up our trolley, and it was equivalent to what would cost about $400 or $500 in New Zealand. It was 200 New Zealand dollars.
Yeah.
So to me, we're having a real issue with food prices in New Zealand, and it's affecting everybody. So we're going to go to the farmers market.
Yeah.
We're going to go to our local bakery, Spout Bakery, to get bread.
Yeah.
Amy's organised milk deliveries from a farm gate place.
Beautiful.
Eggs coming direct from them.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a fun challenge, I think.
Yeah, nice.
And
I like
coffee, Mazagran everywhere.
Yeah.
Great beans.
Well, as I say, I don't think there is anything that we need or want. Both of those things are probably met by providers in Oti Dunedin.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So getting on to Oti Dunedin.
Yes.
We like to ask a few questions around your fave things. So if you're out and about in Dunedin, maybe you've got some friends visiting from South Auckland and you want to take them out for breakfast or lunch, what would be your go-to?
Well, I stand by I'll die on this hill to say that Dunedin has the best coffee in the world. And, Mazagran is my personal favourite. Chris will look after you. Lana at Coffee Culture, Roslyn, Sam at Rhubarb.
Beautiful.
Incredible coffee. So I'd start my day there.
Well, that's hyper local, isn't it?
Yeah, hyper local. That's my keyword. So I'd start my day there, and then I would just get a gauge as to what the person wants. Do they want to go bad but good food? Do you know what I mean? Like unhealthy food, or familiar, or healthy food. But look, my brothers come down and they love mutton pies. So the first place we would go to would be the Bake Time in Kaikoura Valley Road. They still do the old school
mutton pies with the oil dripping out.
Yeah, and the lardy pastry.
I'm pleased Mr. Paul Twemlow's in the room. I bet you he's going there for lunch now.
It's so good. It's so good. Look, and everything in moderation. Not saying it's a health food by any means.
Yes.
So I'd start there after my coffee. Go there. And then we'd probably cruise down to St. Clair, maybe have lunch at the Esplanade.
Yeah.
And then my favourite pizza place is the Pizza Bar in Lower Stewart Street.
Ah, beautiful.
Great pizzas.
Oh, look at that. A day full of food and it's nailed. It's brilliant.
Sorted.
What about that tricky question that we have? We'll give you a heads up on this. But, if you were to be able to share a Ocho hot chocolate or a Speight's or a glass of water with a Dunedin hero, they might be past, but they might still be here. Who would that be, Andy?
Yeah, Bex, I have done a little bit of research into that question because it is a good one. And I guess if I look back at my own history, there's a lot to choose from, right? So the Chinese community in Dunedin, there's a long, strong history of incredible people there. So the Choi Suhoi family, history of entrepreneurship and giving to the community.
Obviously, Peter springs to mind for those of us that are politically inclined.
Yeah, Uncle Peter Chin. Yeah, and I call him Uncle. He's not actually a blood uncle, but Chinese connection. Yeah. Successful mayor of New Zealand, a great lawyer, and giving to the community in so many ways. And Uncle Jim Ning, who was a doctor in the community and a historian for the Chinese community. So all incredible heroes. And then I went to school at Otago Boys. Yes. And Richie McCaw, obviously, Otago Boys connection there. Sir Keith Park, do you know who Sir Keith Park is?
No.
He went to Otago Boys. He's the defender of London. So he commanded the... the
stories he would have.
Absolutely. But I did come down to Brendan McCullum.
Oh.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I've played cricket here and I made my son Josh play cricket here and Ella, my daughter, play cricket here for many summers in Dunedin. Yeah. And, there's a general rule of thumb that you have to do something for 10,000 hours to be...
Yes. Gives you the master.
Yes.
You become the master.
You become the master of your craft.
Yes.
There is no way Brendan McCullum spent 10,000 hours playing cricket in summers in Dunedin.
Would have been 20.
Like if he went to Brockpool Cricket Park and got blown apart. We've taken the kids there and get blown apart by snowstorms in summer.
Yeah. The weather wasn't... You think he was born to be the incredible cricketer that he became.
Yeah, but also he embodies the underdog, right?
Do I have it right that I think the Black Caps won the other day? Is that right? Do you watch it still?
Yeah, I love it. I'm a real cricket nerd. Yeah. And did they win the other day?
I think they took out one day.
Yeah, they well done, Bex.
I didn't watch it, I have to admit, but I'm a reader.
But yeah, see, Brendan McCullum is like, he innovates, right?
Yeah.
To be great, you got to innovate, change the game. When he was captain, we tried to play cricket against the Australians the Australian way. Big brash, talk a lot of trash.
Yeah.
But he brought a different
own
ethos.
authenticity to it.
An own authenticity, exactly. And I love that. And we competed. We didn't win all the time, but the fact that we competed the way that we compete, being good dudes, being innovative on the field, and now he's coach of England. So.
Well, let's hope he learns that Andy would like to catch up with him
I
over
would
a
love
hot
to.
chocolate
Oh my gosh.
in Dunedin, and
that would be
flies
incredible.
here, and we can hear all about that chat that you have.
That would be amazing,
wouldn't it?
Yeah, oh hell yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. And what I want to do now is I'm introducing a new segment into the Dunedin Stories podcast.
Sure.
It's called Below the Surface. So you haven't had any pre-warning about this. This is a really awesome game that's been created by two incredible people, Carly Shorter and Mark Glenn. Shout out to them. Made in New Zealand, and basically there's 3 levels of cards, and you can choose whether you want to move to the next level after we have done that first card. And it's just a way for us to explore and be a bit unique about the questions we ask. So,
Sure.
Is that all right?
Absolutely up for it. Yeah.
Awesome. So, first level question. Name 3 qualities you value in a friend, Andy.
Whoa.
That's a level 1.
That's level 1?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. 3 values.
In a friend.
I valued loyalty.
Yeah.
Loyalty.
That's important, isn't
really
it?
important. Being comfortable with somebody that you can talk things through if necessarily. Being able to be your own authentic self with them, right? So I value that a lot.
Yeah.
And again,
you don't want to have to wear a mask, do you?
No.
You want to be to yourself.
I guess if again, Dunedin's too small to be a dick.
Yeah, it sure is.
You get sort of caught out pretty easily.
Yeah.
Being
nice.
Being authentic.
Well, that was a challenging one, and that was only level 1, Andy. So, shall we move to level 2? Yeah? You up for this?
Let's go.
Okay, level 2. If you had to choose between winning lotto and working in your dream job, which would you choose and why?
Full disclosure, I already work in my dream job.
So that's lovely. So you've experienced that.
Look, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's a real privilege to be there. And I feel like I haven't talked about my staff. I just want to spend a couple of minutes
please do.
talking about my staff.
Yeah.
They are incredible. And, one of the real joys in my time is watching our younger staff grow and develop. Being 20 years there is incredible. But also going to war with these people, when the COVID came.
It did feel like we were forming our own little mini armies, didn't it?
It really did.
And confronting whatever was ahead, and then scanning to see what else might affect us. And,
it was insane. No one knew what was going to happen.
All from our own homes, although you would have been that's essential.
Yeah, so we were in there, and the guys... I wanted to protect them, and it was amazing, and it was such an incredible feeling to get through that. Yeah. And they're just the most incredible people. And sometimes I'm the guy on the ODT, and I'm the one here talking to you on the podcast, Bex. But I'd be nothing without them.
I get it.
They're amazing.
Don't worry.
Yeah, they're amazing.
We get to look good and represent.
Absolutely.
Basically, it's like, but without that, it's like, there's nothing.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
And it's such a privilege to be there every day, and there's such a broad people doing their best to help people from wide ranges of experience, the young ones that are so clever and bright, to the older ones with experience and knowledge, and between us, we just click.
Yeah.
And
shout out to Roslyn Pharmacy
team. Shout out to Roslyn Pharmacy team.
Yeah.
For sure.
Good job.
So yes, I'd take the money.
You take the money.
Because already working.
Brilliant. Are you up for a level 3?
Well, level 2 was easier than level 1, so level 3 must be easier,
Let's go with level 3. Let's do this. So, share a time when you were truly lonely, Andy.
Oh, this is raw.
It's a bit rough, isn't it?
It is a bit rough. I guess this is recency bias, but my children have just left the coop. So
you and Amy are empty nesters.
We're empty nesters, but no one in Dunedin. It is. It's very sobering. And we had just come back from that overseas holiday where we were literally living on top of each other, living out of suitcases, laughing, eating together, noise, mess everywhere. And now the house is so tidy.
Quiet and tidy. Tidy. I was going to say quiet, but
it's quiet.
It's tidy.
It's quiet, but it is so tidy.
Yeah.
So
it takes adjustment, doesn't it?
Yeah. And you know this, of course, but a lot of your identity is being a parent. So we're kind of selfishly mourning that loss, but excited for
what those next steps will be.
Yeah, it's an exciting time.
Yeah, there is a lot of research around that, relationships needing to then find where their connection is and how you together as a two move to that next step. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to ask Paul if he wanted to play golf and have a few beers.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yes, definitely more quality time with Amy.
Yeah. So just to sort of cover off on that, what is the plan for 2025?
Wow. Gosh.
Any exciting plans, adventures or anything?
Yeah, well, a couple of years ago, Amy set up a Pilates studio. And that came from understanding from our own health journey where good health is. You know, it's not just supplying medicines.
Not just what goes in your mouth and your skin, is it?
It's much more than that, Beck. So it's about social connections. It's about movement, functional movement, and it's about building relationships. And that's what the Pilates studio is, just like an extension of that. And it's been a really exciting journey for Amy, and she's been doing an incredible job there. And then the pharmacy, it's, there's just challenges every day in that industry. You know, what's the health crisis of the day?
The new fandangled drug that everybody's using in Hollywood that everybody wants in New Zealand.
Exactly. So that's exactly right. So Ozempic, that's the trendy drug. The trendy illness is ADHD. You know. So and prior to that, it was menopause. And what that causes is a huge
peaks, isn't it? Of demand.
Peaks in demand, but real supply chain issues. So at the moment, there's a shortage of ADHD medication.
Right.
There's a shortage of
HRT
recently. So it's about managing that day to day. It's just fun though. I love it. Wouldn't change it.
No time to be bored, I'm sure.
No time to be bored. Every day is an adventure.
Oh, that's really exciting to hear. And how can our audience get in touch with you or, seek out your services, Andy?
Yeah, well, obviously I'll be at the Roslyn Pharmacy most days now that my children have left me. I'll be there a lot.
16-hour shifts.
16-hour shifts. So we're located on Highgate between Rhubarb and Fresh Choice supermarkets there on Highgate. Feel free to give me a call anytime or drop me an email. Community pharmacy superpower, I think, is its accessibility, so people can see me.
Pretty easy parking up there, which is very important for Dunedin people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And we can do deliveries to you as well. We deliver to most places in town.
Awesome.
But I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Give me a sing out. I'll do my best for you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's a real treat. It's gone very quickly.
It has.
Thank you for being my guinea pig on Below the Surface.
Yeah, no, that was fun.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it, I think.
Yeah, it's a nice way to ask.
I like it that I haven't yet been interviewed, though, because I'm not sure how I would cope with that, but that's the power of my seat.
Well, that's right, the quizmaster.
Thank you, Andy, and we look forward to touching base over the rest of the year.
Yeah, thanks, Bex, and for everything you do for the community.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Cheers.